Good morning, students. I welcome you all for the online class of economics. As we were learning the topic aggregate demand, and we have learned various components of aggregate demand, today we will be continuing our chapter aggregate demand with the next topic, that is consumption function. Estimation and behavior of C component of aggregate demand, that is the consumption component of aggregate demand. In an economy, C is an important component of aggregate demand. Economics often study the behavior of C with respect to Y. Yes, definitely. As the income of the people is there, the same way the consumption will be done by the people. Even we have learned then when the situation is there, their income is zero, then also consumption is done by the people, and that time the consumption is considered as autonomous consumption. Why we are calling it as autonomous consumption? Because there only C is present, Y is not related that time with the C. As income is zero, we said, if the income is zero, still the consumption is done. It means only the consumption is present there. That means it is autonomous consumption. Because consumption depends on income, higher level of Y often leads to higher level of C. This is the basic fact. Though we understand that there is always a minimum level of consumption, consumption cannot be zero even when income is zero. Survival needs consumption. The functional relationship or the algebraic relationship between C and Y is called consumption function. It helps us to understand how C behaves with respect to Y. Also, it helps us to estimate C corresponding to different values of Y in the economy. Studying the behavior of C with respect to Y, the economics have identified the following points as of central significance. There is always some minimum level of C, even when Y equals to 0. This is called autonomous consumption. This leads to negative saving minus S. Consumption is positively related to income. Rise in Y causes a rise in C, and in Y, and it also becomes vice versa. The entire increase in Y during a particular period is not converted into a C, as we learned last class also. When suddenly a great height the income increases, people start saving habit. So there the consumption will not increase parallelly to income, because there when the at a certain level income increases too much, there the people start developing a habit of savings. So of it saved as well, so that the rate at which C increases often lags behind the rate at which Y increases. Accounting for this observation, the behavior of C with respect to Y is specified in table number 2. Consumption function, a tabular presentation. Y equals to 0. As we can see a tabular data, it will help us to learn very easy the thing. Y, when it is 0, still the consumption is done 20. This is the level where we call autonomous consumption, because here Y is not playing any role. Here it is 0. Only C we can see, that is 20. Now next level we are seeing 50, as the income increases from 0 to 50. There the consumption has increased from 20 to 60. So here the 40 units has been increased. So here the consumption has increased parallel to income. Then suddenly from 50 to 100, 50 more units of income has been increased. There we can see the consumption has increased 40 more units, that is 100. Now we are seeing from income 50 to 100 and then 100 to 150. There we can see the consumption has been increased parallelly, that is 140. Table 2 offers a tabular presentation of consumption function. It reveals that 20 is the minimum level of consumption. This is the level of C when Y equals to 0. C rises in response to a rise in Y, so that C is positively related to Y. The rate at which C increases is lower than the rate at which Y increases. Thus while Y increases each time by 50, C increases by 40 only. Diagrammatic presentation. Diagrammatically, when the data related to consumption and income are plotted on a graph paper, we get consumption function as in figure number 2. Consumption function is diagrammatic presentation. Data set Y and C, you can see there, it is above tabular data only. Here we will be seeing by the help of formula slope of C line, consumption line slope we can observe. The formula for calculating slope of C line is change in C upon change in Y. This formula we can see here, and this change sign is shown with the help of delta. delta C upon delta Y. That will help us to show how much changes in income will increase the consumption or decrease the consumption. So that is slope of C line. Let us see some of the consumption level and change in C and change in Y. Now here see students, here 40 and 50 is shown. As in the tabular data, I can show you how is the change in Y. Change in Y, change in Y has been calculated as like this. As the income was 0 first and now it will become 50. So change in Y, we can see 50 minus 0 equals to, it will come 50. And how the consumption will consumption changes we will calculate. Change in C equals to, see the data set in which it was 20, autonomous consumption was 20 and then increased by 60. So here 60 minus 20 if we will do, then how much we will get? 40. So that is the or change in C. Same way we will proceed from 50 to 100, 60 to 100. That changes we will observe and then we will get slope of C line, that is the answer came 0.8. Now we can see the graph here. You can see the graph here, graph of consumption function is shown there. A diagrammatic presentation has been shown here. Very clearly it has been drawn. Whenever you will be drawing the graph, it must be in the same way how it is presented in the particular figure. This is the correct way. You have to point out the graph, like here one side it is shown consumption and one side it has shown the income. Income you can see 0 to 50, 50 to 100 and 150 has been shown there. And same way the consumption has been shown. The data was 20, 40, 60, has 20 rupees gap was there in the consumption. So you can see the graph clearly to you. Here you can, in the down income side also you can do short degrees. Like for example 0 to 20, then 20 to 50 and 50 to 100, likewise you can show, or you can show as it is shown in the data. And after drawing this x-axis and y-axis, first you have to draw a 45-degree angle. As I said yesterday also, a 45-degree angle we are drawing to see how much the consumption is increasing and decreasing parallelly to y. So that for that, first of all, after drawing x-axis and y-axis, first of all draw the angle number 45 degree. There we can tally with the 45 degree how the slope of C line is increasing or decreasing, at which level it is getting equilibrium. Now we can see 0 to 50, 0 was the consumption, 0 was the income, that time the consumption has been 20. You can see if we are starting from the point 20 and here nothing is there. So after 20 the income has increased 0 to 50. So you can see 50 we will come, and there we when the income is 50 the consumption is 60. So we will select from consumption side 60 and we will join this together and we will draw a line. This way we will get a dot, that is known as point of insertion. Here you can see the point of insertion. I will be showing you here it is known as point of insertion. You can see this dot. Here it is that particular point at where C and Y is meeting, that is known as point of insertion. So that point will tell us where it is connecting. Likewise all the set data has been tallied in the graph, and now one point we will get where the 45 degree and the consumption line, this line which we started from 20 to C. You can see this line where it is meeting, where the degree angle and the sign is meeting, it is known as break-even point. And the Y income line is at 45 degree, which will help us to connect the consumption line. So this is the way we are doing and finding the consumption, slope of consumption line. So this is the way graph will be presented from consumption. It is very easy, not too much hard as you have learnt in 10th standard graph. It is very simple with simple units and you will be getting the data. Observation, C line start from 20 indicating that C equals to 20 when Y equals to 0. This is the minimum level of consumption. Initially C line is above the Y line, but eventually it is below the Y line. It indicates that the rate at which C increases is lower than the rate at which Y increases. Slope of C line, delta C upon delta y equals to 40 upon 50 equals to 0.8. It is constant at points A, B or C. C line crosses Y line at point B. It is called break-even point. Your total consumption is equals to total income. After this line only, the people will, when the income will increase more, the people will start the habit of saving also, and they will maintain a constant level of consumption. Parallelly to income, they will not increase the consumption. In figure 2, consumption is measured on y-axis and income on x-axis. A line making an angle of 45 degree and shooting from the origin is drawn as a line of reference. It indicates the equality between consumption and income, as I already explained to you. C line represents consumption function indicating the behavior of C with respect to Y. Now note the following observation carefully. C line starts from 20. It is the minimum level of consumption value of C when Y equals to 0. C line is positively sloped. Moving upward from left to right, it indicates that C is positively related to Y. Higher Y leads to higher C. Though initially C line is above the Y line, 45 degree line, eventually it remains below the Y line, implying that the rate at which C increases is lower than the rate at which Y increases. C line is a straight line, implying that the slope of C line is constant. It also means that it is a linear consumption function. Slope of C line needs some elaboration. It refers to the rate at which C increases in response to a given increase in Y. It indicates the proportion of additional income that goes to consumption. This is measured as a ratio between delta C and delta Y. This is known as marginal propensity to consume. Shows that the formula MPC, marginal propensity to consumption, equals to change in consumption upon change in Y. Here we are not taking total consumption. Here we are taking the changes in the consumption as per the changes in the income. That you have to keep in mind. Then you will be getting easily the MPC answer. A note of caution is given. Economics also estimate APC, average propensity to consume, as it is different from marginal propensity to consume, has a ratio between total consumption and total income. That's why I explained to you, when we are taking marginal propensity to consume, we are taking the changes in C and changes in Y. But when the question is asked to calculate average propensity to consume, that time we will be making total consumption upon total income. That the formula will change. APC equals to C upon Y, not the change in C upon change in Y. In the context of C function, the slope of C line is indicated not by APC but by MPC. To emphasize the difference between APC equals to C by Y is a ratio between total consumption and total income. MPC equals to change in C upon change in Y is a ratio between change in consumption and change in income. This indicates the slope of consumption function. Algebraic presentation. Algebraically, consumption function is expressed as in the following equation. C equals to C bar plus by. Here B, small b, is the marginal propensity to consume. I think you will be remembering, we have learned this formula, consumption function, in the last chapter also. So here you will be getting very easily. Here we will be solving some of the numericals also, so that your clarity will be there related to algebraic expression. C bar is the equation, refers to the minimum level of consumption. It is the value of consumption when Y equals to 0. The parameter B refers to the rate at which C increases response to an increase in Y, that is change in C upon change in Y, that you have to calculate, and then you will be getting the answer B, that you have to multiply with income Y. It is change in C upon change in Y, which is marginal propensity to consume. Figure 2 shows that C bar equals to 20, that is the autonomous. What is C bar? C bar, see your students, always remember C bar is nothing. It is the autonomous consumption, as I said, when income is 0, when Y equals to 0, then also some consumption is done. That itself is the C bar. Using these values, we can write our consumption function equation as under. C equals to 20, as C bar was 20 there, 0 equals to 20, and plus what we calculated, change in C upon change in Y, we got the answer 0.8, that we will multiply by Y, as we were not having the Y that time, as we can assume something. Okay, let us assume some Y. This equation enables us to estimate the values of C corresponding to different values of Y. Using values of Y as 50. Let us see this first equation. I will not proceed with 100 and 150. Let us make understand with this simple y equals to 50. As we got the total equation c equals to 20 plus 0.8 y, but y is not there, we can't get the proper answer. So let us assume y equals to 50. What we will get? 20 plus 0.8 into 50. 0.8 into 50 you will do first, then you will add with 20. As the equation as you learned in class 8, you have to proceed with a Bodmer's rule. So 20 plus 0.8 into 50, you will get the answer 40. 20 plus 40, we get 60. So first value of c we will be getting equals to 60. Now let us assume our y equals to 100. Then what we will get? C equals to when y equals to 100, 20 plus 0.8 into 100, when we will do it, we will get the answer 0.8 into 100 equals to 80. 20 plus 80, we will get 100. See, when y equals to 150, same way we will proceed. I think the calculation is easy and you can calculate by keeping simple term. We find that the estimated values of consumption are exactly the same as the actual values. Thus, we can find out the behavior of C in relation to y, even when actual values of C are not known to us. Let us have some calculation from the book itself. Find C when C bar equals to 200. It means autonomous consumption given in our question is 200. MPC is given as 0.5 and Y equals to 1000. I think you can calculate now easily. C, what was the formula? C equals to, as we learnt in the last topic, C equals to C bar plus B Y. Here C bar we got 200 plus B what we got 0.5 into Y what we get 1000. So here when we will proceed with the calculation, we will get 200 plus 500, that we will make 700. Very easy the calculation. As I said, would consumption function be linear in case MPC is constant? Give reason in support of your answer. Yes, or definitely consumption function would be linear in case MPC is constant. This is because a linear consumption function is a straight line consumption function. The slope of a straight line is constant and the slope is indicated by MPC. Constant MPC implies constant slope and therefore a straight line linear consumption function will be formed. So this was a consumption function. Next class we will be going to learn the topic saving function. Thank you.